Hi, this is Mike Brown, owner of Death Wish Coffee Company. Welcome to Fueled by Deathcast.
I love Jeff, but sweet and high. Whoop, there's so much drama,
Death Wish Coffee presents Fueled by Deathcast, the world's strongest podcast. With your hosts, the incredible Jeff and the amazing D-Man.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Fueled by Deathcast. I am the incredible Jeff.
I'm just going to go with... No, sorry. Just going to be Dustin today.
Ah, boo.
I got to take the cape off every now and then.
Boo.
Hang
See,
it up, let it dry.
Mine's stapled to my neck, so it ain't coming off.
That's why it stinks.
We're already off to a terrible start. But always, we start the show by thanking our good friend Brock Powell, BrockVox.com, for all of your voiceover needs, including ours. In fact, he was the mastermind behind some of our new bumps, which still make me chuckle every time I hear them. I love it. And go check out his own podcast, Unpop, which he does with his buddies. They talk about movies and make fun of them and are really funny and fun to listen to. As well, go over and listen to our new friend, Dave Solo, over at Walker Nation. He also does, I think, like 10,434 other different podcasts. But guy. Walker Nation's really fun. Obviously, all about The Walking Dead. And I want to shout these out first, and then we'll explain why. A couple of our favorite podcasts, the Duncan Trussell Family Hour, and also the Death Squad. Now, why am I talking about this, D-Man?
Well, we're going out to something interesting this weekend. Something
I hate saying it out loud.
I know it hurts, but I'll do it for you, Jeff.
Okay,
it's called Skankfest.
Skankfest. So basically, what this is it is a festival, a comedy festival, 3 days in New York City, and it is going to be held at two different locations. It's a bunch of podcasters, bunch of comedians, including Reggie Watts, Jim Gaffigan, Artie Lang, Bert Kreischer.
No.
Sure, Kreischer?
Yes.
Okay, got it. I was close. Ari Shafir.
I hope you meet him and you're like, hi, Bert Kreischer. Shit.
We'll get that on tape. Ari Shafir, Duncan Trussell, Michelle Wolf. The list goes on and on. And we're going to go down and caffeinate these guys and hanging out with them and hopefully maybe even make some podcast guests out of it, guys. So, keep listening to Fueled by Deathcast, and maybe we'll have some of these guys as our guests, which would be really cool.
Secret code unlocked. Discount of death.
So, if you type in the word blindsided, you will get 15% off of Barrel Brand Coffee until the 28th. Of what's this month? Is it June still?
June, yeah.
Jesus.
And that is BLINDSIDED.
And Jeff, tell us why we are using this as our code this week.
That is the title of the brand new book from our guest, Laura Morton. And we're going to talk a lot more about that in our interview with her. But we thought it would be nice to use that as the code, too. That keeps it in your brain. You can go pick up the book from Amazon. And actually, the audio book is read by Christian Slater. So
really?
Yeah, so that's pretty cool too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
so type that in,
blindsided,
and you'll get 15% off of our Barrel Brand. Great time to try it if you haven't tried it yet. And we made enough to go around this time, so it might be.
We still have both flavors in stock.
Yeah, both flavors.
Yeah, rum and bourbon. So.
Yes, sir.
Science.
Space.
Shit.
Space.
No.
I love being able to do these science segments on this podcast because...
You love scaring the shit out of me.
Well, not only scaring the shit out of you, but I also love that we get to check in on stories that we've talked about. We do have some really neat space probes out there, discovering things all the time, like the Curiosity rover on Mars and the Cassini spacecraft, which is going in between the rings of Saturn right now.
You got Juno and Jupiter.
And Juno is still giving us new stuff. And as of right now, we're finding out some really cool new things about Jupiter. And This picture behind me, if you're watching us on YouTube, actually is comprised of one single flyby every 53 days. Jupiter pulls Juno in close with its gravity, and it takes about 2 hours for Juno to travel from pole to pole, and that's basically what you're seeing.
Wow.
And that's why it gets larger, because it actually, it gets closer to the planet as it's kind of coming up like that. Now, what we're finding out is that it's snowing on Jupiter, which is, we kind of knew it had a lot of this weather, but we didn't really know to what extent.
So wait, does that mean there's water on Jupiter?
In a sense.
How can you have snow without water, Jeff?
Well, it can be ammonia snow, which is what they're talking about.
That doesn't sound like fun at all.
Yeah, these big storm clouds, which I'll go a little bit closer for you, and I'll go even closer for you, is these huge clouds, masses of basically ammonia and a bunch of other different trace gases, and there is some water vapor in there. And so these little white pinpricks, again, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see what I'm talking about. They look like little tiny white pimples all over. What those things actually are 50-kilometer wide towers of clouds, of ice and ammonia, and just coming from this huge storm system.
Oh my God.
It basically, the Juno principal investigator Scott Bolton said, right now it's snowing on Jupiter and we're seeing how it works. It's probably mostly ammonia ice, but there may be water ice mixed into it. And it's not exactly like the snow we have on Earth. I'm using my imagination when I said it was snowing. It might actually be hail.
Yeah, you're not building snowmen out of this shit.
Right,
for sure.
right. So that's really, really neat, I felt, because we're getting this really up close and personal look at Jupiter, and we're getting these readings back that we always kind of had these hypotheses about, but this is actual fact now. Another cool thing that the Juno spacecraft brought back, did you know that Jupiter has a ring?
Did you know?
Did you know?
No, I guess I didn't.
Well, here's a picture of it. It's the first picture we've ever gotten, first clearest picture we've ever gotten, and it's the line going through the center right there.
Oh, weird.
And it's just this faint ring. It was
Did
discovered.
we know that there was a ring there?
Yeah, it was first discovered by the first Voyager 1 in 1980, and we saw really far away photos of it. This is the closest photo we've ever seen. Basically what it is it's just made up of dust and some very tiny rocks. Unlike Saturn, which is made up a lot of ice particles, that's why it reflects a lot of the light, and we can see those,
right.
and they're way bigger. This is much thinner and doesn't really reflect the light, so it's very hard to see. But what's really neat about this photo is you can see the star Betelgeuse is just above the ring, and then just below the ring is Orion's belt. So technically speaking, the heavens, the night sky looks very similar on Jupiter to the way it does to us on Earth.
Huh, let's move there.
Yeah, let's move there, which is pretty neat. But again, I love being able to revisit, because we talked about Juno a couple times on this podcast. I love being able to revisit when new information comes back, and we're going to keep getting it. Like I said, every 53 days, it's going to keep beaming new stuff back to us.
Even when it goes full kamikaze, we're gonna learn more.
Totally. So that's really interesting.
What fuels you?
So this week, we got to talk to author Laura Morton. She's amazing. Can't wait for you to get to this interview.
I think this interview left me thinking about the way I approach life more than any other interview that we've done.
Which is
saying
you.
a lot, because we've had some pretty amazing guests on it.
Totally.
And I think immediately of Claire. But, man, sitting with Laura Morton, she has so much insight, because she's worked with so many top of their field people, anywhere from nutritional people or
newscasters
or athletes or
musicians,
rock stars, pop stars. So man, she had some really, really great advice, including the advice that you're only as good as the advice you take.
Right.
But one of the pieces of advice that she gave us was about living intentionally.
Yes. This is an idea that's very easy to grasp. You obviously want to have an intentional life. You want to live for a reason. But it's hard really to put in everyday practice. What she talked about was the idea of adding value to every single day, to every situation in every single day, finding a way to add value to that, and that makes your life more intentional. And again, it's something like, even saying it out loud, it's like, of course, I get that, of course. But there are many instances, even in my own life, where I'm not thinking that way. You know, I'm pissed off at the driver in front of me, or I'm, not able to complete the task the way that I want to complete it at my job, or 100 different things. And I'm not thinking about ways I can actually add value to the situation. I'm just thinking about not doing that.
And Laura had a really great perspective as far as, like, a lot of people see this idea as kind of daunting, like one person can't make a change, but one person can make a change.
Yeah, totally.
And the only way that can happen is if you do it intentionally.
Right. And I mean, it is one of those things. And again, when we talk about the What Fuels You segment on this podcast, we're always trying to glean what we gained from the person that we're talking to, but apply it to everyday life. And a lot of these things, they're tough to do in an everyday setting.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to train yourself to, again, going back to Claire's episode, you have to train yourself to stop and smell the roses.
Yeah.
Take time with every moment and every experience and every situation. And while you're doing that, think of ways to be able to live intentionally, and be able to better that moment, that situation, that.
And we've talked about this before with the podcast. The podcast is intentional. We're trying to make a better situation out of every situation.
Yes, we're trying to affect change, and that was something that Laura was all about. And again, great conversation that was coming up later in the episode.
Yeah, just stick around, listen to it, and you'll get the real scoop from Laura herself. It's amazing.
Community shout out.
So this week, community shout out goes to Paul Thomas. We actually met Paul a couple weeks ago. He drove here all the way from, do you remember? From far away.
Nowhere close.
Yeah. And we gave him the tour, and just so happened it was just around lunchtime, so we all went out to lunch together. Well, you, me, Eric, and him.
Yeah, it was nice. It's nice to have like this nice casual, setting of we're just chilling out eating lunch. We're all people. We all need to eat. And
yeah,
it was nice.
It was nice.
Very nice.
And Paul was a very nice man. And we see you on the internet. In the community pages, you're posting about the company and how much you love the mugs and the coffee and everything. And we couldn't be happier. So mugs up, and community shout out to you, Paul. I wanted to just kind of throw this out into the universe this week. We love going places with this company, and I mean that in the literal sense. Like Dustin,
you're going places, kid.
Yeah, Dustin and I just got back from Nashville with the Walker Stalker convention, and you earlier this spring were out in Albuquerque for the Coffee and Chocolate Festival, and we love going to all different types of events like this. Like last year when we sponsored a NASCAR and went out there,
or we're at Comic-Cons all the time.
Poker Central, we just sponsored that. It's a lot of fun to go to all different walks of life and help people get caffeinated and meet, and have a good time, and really bring our brand to the masses as much as we can. So,
but we know there's some things we're missing. We know there's some things that we're not even thinking about.
Right.
So I guess what we're doing now is asking you, the people, is if you have any ideas that we could, I don't know, listen to and think about and check out, and on places that you think we should be and that we're not.
Yeah, we always love hearing about new events and new conventions, new ideas, new anything, biker meetups, like and all sorts of different things. And just we're really easy to find on the internet. Jeff Wish Coffee or Death Wish Dustin, very easy. You can hit us up on social media, or just talk about your comments on the Death Wish Coffee social, and just hashtag Fueled by Deathcast.
Yeah, and Jeff, where do you see us going that we're not yet?
Well, I would have said tattoos, because I thought we should have really gotten into the tattoo game, but we're there. We're going to be at the Empire State Tattoo Convention this year
in I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
I really would like to do maybe a biker meetup, like a
Underground gang fights.
no, not like that, but I mean around this area we have something called Americade every year,
Yeah.
which is tons and tons of people flood Lake George and on their motorcycles and everything, and I think it'd be cool to maybe have a presence as a coffee company at one of those. I mean,
Yeah.
we already got the Skull and Crossbones, so
Yeah.
we're already in with
Yeah.
that crowd, but we'll see. Send us your ideas; we'd love to hear them.
The Death Wish Death List.
This week, we lost an American hero, for sure. His name was Arthur J. Jackson. He was 92 years old, and he was a captain in the U.S. Marine Corps. And again, I love doing these death lists because I learn about people that I never even knew, yet I'm so humbled by what they left behind on this rock before they left the rock for good. He enlisted in the Marines at 18 in 1943, and he actually joined the 1st Marine Division in Melbourne, Australia, pretty much the same year because we were getting into the war at that point, So during the Cape Gloucester campaign, he actually carried a Marine to safety in the face of a very well-entrenched hill full of Japanese soldiers, and he saved the man's life, and he earned the Letter of Commendation for that. And then directly after that, he served in the 3rd Battalion of the 7th Marines in the Battle of, I'm going to get this wrong, the Battle of Peleliu. Peleliu?
Sure.
It's one of those islands near Japan, where he was wounded, but his heroic actions actually earned him the Purple Heart and the Medal of Honor. He went into battle again in 1945 at the Battle of Okinawa and was wounded again and commissioned as 2nd lieutenant for his bravery during that battle. After the war, he joined the Army Reserves and gained the rank of captain in 1954, and he actually served with the Army in the Korean War and then returned to the Marines in 1959 and stayed with the Army Reserves until 1984. He was awarded the Medal of Honor from President Harry S. Truman, and this was the commendation, and I felt it was worth repeating because, like I said, these heroes, a lot of people don't even know they were around or what they did, and this was World War II. Boldly taking the initiative when his platoon's left flank advance was held up by the fire of Japanese troops concealed in strongly fortified positions, Private First Class Jackson unhesitantly proceeded forward of our lines and courageously defying the heavy barrages, charged a large pillbox housing approximately 35 enemy soldiers. Pouring his automatic fire into the opening of the fixed installation to trap the occupying troops, he hurled white phosphorus grenades and explosive charges brought up by a fellow Marine, demolishing the pillbox and killing all of the enemy. Advancing alone under the continuous fire from other hostile emplacements, he employed a similar means to smash 2 smaller positions in the immediate vicinity. Determined to crush the entire pocket of resistance throughout all harassed sides by the shattering blast of Japanese weapons and covered only by small rifle parties, he stormed one gun position after another, dealing death and destruction to savagely fighting the enemy in his inexorable drive against the remaining defenses. Basically speaking, he was a one-man tank.
Yeah, this guy was a maniac.
And I mean, that's why I thought that would bear repeating.
Oof.
Because I mean, when you are awarded the Medal of Honor, it's not for something lightly, And this guy took out an entire battalion, basically, of Japanese soldiers. And think of the lives that he saved, just by doing that. And again, war is hell, and I don't condone any side losing, but I'm just saying this guy was a hero for our side. And fortunately, he lived a long life and was able to do all that. But on a happier note, Death wish you a happy birthday this week. Thursday, June 22nd, our favorite Evil Dead killing guy, Bruce Campbell, Ash vs. Evil Dead. I love that show. He's going to turn 59.
Give me some sugar.
Give me some sugar, baby. On Saturday, June 24th, Mindy Kaling, I think she's really funny. She's going to turn 38. Sunday, June 25th, Anthony Bourdain.
My hero.
Yeah, he really is. Great dude. He's going to turn 61. On Monday, June 26th, the spawn of Kevin Smith himself, Harley Quinn Smith, is going to turn just 18 years old.
Jeez.
She's a baby, but she's been doing really well. A lot of movie roles and stuff, thanks to her dad. And Tuesday, June 27th, Carl
Coral.
Chandler Riggs is also turning 18 for the breakout young star from The Walking Dead. So happy birthday to all of them. And as always, we're going to take a short break and give you this week's update.
D-Man's Death Wish Update. Brought to you by Death Wish Coffee.
All right, it's that time again. Well, here's what we got coming, Jeff.
What is it?
Well, if you're listening to this, if you go on deathwishcoffee.com and make a purchase of anything, you will be rolled into a contest for a golden ticket to win the Abe Lincoln mug and decanter.
These guys right here. We've done the golden tickets a couple times. It's always a huge success.
Yep.
20 of you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
20 of you have the chance to get that golden ticket in your, and it'll show up randomly, just like Willy Wonka.
Yep.
And you might actually get the keys to the Wonkaville. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
No, you're gonna be one of the first people to get the Abe Lincoln mug and decanter set. And that's really fun.
Yeah. Also, next week we have something else fun coming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got
So
it
we
queued
worked
up.
with we worked with Crosby and Taylor again, and
Boom.
there it
There
is.
it is.
Oh,
Magnets.
If you're on YouTube and watching us right now, you can see that we have these fine pewter magnets that
I should have brought one with me, but they're the size of like a $50.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, they're a nice size magnet. They're pewter, just like the coffee scoop that we made.
Yep.
And they look great on your fridge.
Yeah, we tested these too.
Oh, we tested the hell out of them. It was fun. We got them in, and we were throwing them on the ground and throwing them off of buildings and stuff. So they hold up.
You got to do a little quality control, you
Yeah.
know. And they held up really well.
Yeah. So even if they fall off your fridge, they'll be great. But those are coming up real soon. So get ready for those.
Also coming up somewhat soon, we're gonna come out with I don't know if we've done this before, but if we have, we haven't done it in a long time. We're coming out with a diner mug set.
Yeah.
And these are really high quality American made mugs. We looked at a few different vendors, but we wanted to make sure it was made in America and that they were nice mugs. So
And they're nice mugs, but they're not like your collectible Deneen mugs. We know many.
They're not hand spun.
Right.
Yeah.
They are. They're handmade in the USA, but they're dishwasher safe. You know, they're your normal fare diner mug, but it's gonna have our logo on it, and it's like your everyday mug if you don't want to pull out your special Lucky Larry to drink out of or something.
And it's a set, so which means you'll have some different designs.
Yep.
We're not going to talk about what those designs are yet, but
it'll be a set of 2. And that'll be coming out really soon, and I'm excited for that because that'll be like a fresh new kind of mug kind of thing.
Also, we wanted to let all the buyers be aware that the Abe Lincoln mug and decanter
There it is.
will be sold only as a set.
Only as a set. We've seen you guys online asking around, and we know not everybody listens to the podcast, but those of you who do listen to the podcast, if you can clue everybody else in on it, we are 100% laying down the law and letting you know that it is a set. You can't just buy the decanter or the mug. We're gonna release them as a set. We're trying something new. The decanters, when we teased them, the response was crazy. So we're gonna see if you guys really dig the set or not. And this will definitely kind of give us more information moving forward if we ever want to do this again.
Yeah.
But it's only as a set. And the other thing that we wanted to address was we saw a lot of people asking about 2 separate things about this set.
They're purple.
They're purple, for one, and for 2,
It's square.
for the first time we did a square stamp on there.
Why are they purple and square, Jeff?
Well, I've got your answer for you. And again, we know you're not all listening to this, so those of you in the know, let everybody else know.
And if you do listen to this, you're gonna have a leg up on everybody else
Yeah.
because we drop all the juicy notes, man.
So obviously, we're releasing these for the July 4th, extravaganza and independence celebration. So everybody's like, well, why aren't you doing the traditional red, white, and blue? Well, the reason being is that the first ever postage stamp to feature Abe Lincoln was actually purple.
It was purple.
Yeah. So we wanted to go a little bit off script and do something to honor that. And that's why you're getting a square stamp instead of our normal round, because it is giving that homage to the postage stamp.
If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. And next week, we're going to have some more stuff.
Yeah.
Keep listening. Every single week, we got new stuff to tell you.
New stuff all the time.
Welcome back to the show.
Hey, Jeff. Welcome back to the show. Who do we have on this week?
Laura Morton. She is a celebrated author and a public speaker and an entrepreneur, and she seems to just have her hand in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we were really, really lucky and honored to have her here at our headquarters.
Totally.
And she was just amazing. I mean, she really dropped the knowledge hard. My head was reeling when I left here, man.
She is an author that helps other people write books for about themselves or about what they want to be written about, and she has worked with some incredible names.
Yeah. Justin Bieber,
yeah.
Al Roker,
yeah,
Fieldy from Korn.
Yeah, and we talk about all that. We talk about she has a couple brand new books coming out. We talk about those. She's also part investor in a nootropics a company that we'll get to as well.
That didn't last long here, man. We guzzled those.
Oh yeah,
those
it was
are
really
so
good. Brain juice. But I mean, just being able to listen to her talk about what she's learned from all the people she's got to work with had such an impact on me.
Yeah.
And we hope that it has an impact on you too. So mugs up for Laura Morton.
Cheers.
The Fueled by Death guest.
We're really curious about what got you into writing in the first place.
Well, I was working in Los Angeles as a producer, and I don't know if you guys know this part of my career, but I had pioneered the celebrity exercise video market.
Oh,
Really? Like
yes.
like Jane Fonda?
Kind of going
Tybo?
back to that era. Well, so funny that you bring up Tybo because I actually turned down Billy Blanks. Oh, I know. And
Were we just talking about Billy Blanks?
We were just the other day. That's
I
funny.
did, yeah. And I keep two things in my desk drawer: my rejection letter of Billy Blanks, and I do, and an apology letter that I got from Judith Reagan. And if you know anything about publishing, Judith Reagan is notoriously mean. And
I've
she,
heard that.
yeah, she is. And she threw a 400-page manuscript at my head. And that, by the way, is still to this day my number one selling book. And we'll come back around to that. Wow. But I turned down Billy Blanks because I decided when I was doing exercise videos, I went with a woman named Stephanie Steele, and she was the woman that taught kickboxing to Michelle Pfeiffer for Catwoman.
Oh,
Awesome.
wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, given, and you'll understand the decision that I made. Given, Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman, or Billy Blanks, I just went for the hot babes.
Yeah.
I did. And I just, Billy had a good following in the San Fernando Valley, and Stephanie Steele had this following in Venice Beach, and I just made the choice, and I made the wrong choice. But you live and you learn.
Yeah.
And I ran into Billy in Hawaii, and
Did he remember being rejected by you?
everybody in that business was friends, by the way.
Yeah.
And we all made each other a lot of money. To be honest, we all made each other a lot of money because when his videos took off, and by the way, the fact that I'm referring to them as videos will tell you how long ago.
Right.
it was.
Yeah. Totally. Go buy his tapes, kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
on
definitely.
VHS,
Yes,
or beta,
definitely.
even worse.
Definitely.
But no, we all were very thankful for Billy because he changed really that world. But the first video that I actually made, this is kind of an interesting story, was I did a video called Champions Forever, and I put Muhammad Ali, Ken Norton, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, and Sugar Ray Leonard. I put them all in a room together and interviewed them for the first time I did.
What?
God, that must have been
Whoa.
crazy.
It was incredible. And they paid homage to Muhammad Ali, who, if you know anything about boxing, is really... one, I have to tell you, he's one of the most special human beings I've ever met in my life. And even back then, and this was quite a few years ago, he was beginning to speak in a whisper. And these guys all owe their careers to Muhammad Ali.
Totally.
They do. And they all paid homage to him, and it was really incredible. And I had them all sign boxing gloves that we used to raise money for various charities. But when I had them sign the gloves, the last glove that Muhammad Ali signed, he gave to me, and he leaned in and he said, "Now listen, you don't give this glove to any old boyfriend. You save this one for your husband." And I really appreciated everything that he had to say to me. He was really an extraordinary guy. And for a long time, and this is in the early days of HBO, when a fight would go short, they would show Champions Forever.
Oh,
Yeah,
And
I
so
remember that.
yeah, and I'm sure you guys have seen the poster. It's all of them together with the boxing gloves around the
Yep.
So when Muhammad passed away last year, I think it was last year. It was that was very moving for me. But that's really how I got started in producing, and that led it into the exercise videos, which led into, now I'm going to answer your question, how I got started into writing books, because I did an exercise video with Joan London. And it was called Workout America, and I always laugh about that title because it was so cheesy. But
get out there and work out, America.
Work out, America. Good morning, America, and work out, America. And, but Joan and I met, and it was as if I had met my long lost sister, best friend, and we had. She had just gone through a really high profile divorce, and lost a lot of weight. And I felt like the workout video was just a small piece of the story. And I very flippantly said, there may or may not have been a glass or two of wine involved. I said, you should write a book. And she said, well, yeah, let's write a book. And that is really how I got into writing. And
Did you go to school for it at all? Or
I really didn't. I went to school. I got my degree in political science. I thought I was going to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And now with all the money that I've spent on lawyers over the years, negotiating contracts and all, not with like legal troubles, but I feel like I could have and should have gone to law school. But I have a good Donald Trump story that I can tell you with negotiating Marla Maples' exercise video.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I'm very curious about that.
Yes. I swore I would not tell this story again, but I will share it with you.
We
I
are
will share
honored.
it with you.
We are honored.
I did Marla Maples' exercise video when she was married to the Donald. And this, I will say this is the last time I will tell this story publicly.
Okay.
But I don't want to.
You heard it here last.
Yes, I am not. I will publicly say I think we have to respect and honor our president, but I am not a supporter of our president. So I did work with Donald and Marla, and he called me and he said, "I want to negotiate our contract, no lawyers, no agents, and I will negotiate Marla's contract, just you and me." And I said, that's fine with me, because in my mind I thought, well, this will save me a ton of money. I don't have to go
Less
up
red
against
tape.
one and done. This is great.
Yeah.
So I sent him our standard talent agreement, and at this point I had done a bunch of these contracts, so I had a standard talent agreement. I sent him our agreement, and he called me, and now that we all know our president, I think we can really appreciate this story. He called me and he was screaming in the phone, "What is this? What is this paragraph that you get all rights in perpetuity throughout the universe? What is this? The universe? Are you sending this up in the space shuttle? Are you taking this to space? I've never heard of such a thing. This is ridiculous. I won't give you the universe. I will only give you the world."
Oh
my God.
My God.
Really?
Truly.
Wow.
And
So aliens do exist.
Yes, they do.
and and I was like, this is a long time ago, and I thought, I could care less if it was the world or the universe. It meant nothing to me because we were not sending it up into space. And but maybe he was working with Russia even then. But but I made a big deal out of it, though. I said, Donald, I can't budge on that because this is my standard contract and everybody has signed it. I'm not giving you the universe. I said, well, there are these three things that I do want. So if you could give me those, I could give you the world. So he gave in on the three things that I really wanted, and I gave him the world. I gave him the world. Now, the next day, I sent him a gift basket, and the gift basket had a card in it, and the card said, "To the best negotiator in the universe, from the second best." Oh. Yeah. And he called me immediately upon getting the gift basket, and he said, "You're very good. Do you want to work for me?"
Oh my gosh, of course.
And I said,
Of course.
"No, I do not." And he said, "And now I know
decision.
you're very smart." And he hung up the phone.
Wow.
So fast forward, we're shooting at Mar-a-Lago, which was part of our agreement. I had
This is for the video.
for the video,
Yeah,
the
okay.
exercise video. We're shooting at Mar-a-Lago, and part of the agreement was that I was allowed to shoot there at no cost.
Yeah.
This was our location, and he approaches me that he wants me to put in 50,000 BTUs of air conditioning in the ballroom.
That's very particular.
Yes, and
okay.
mind you, this was at a different time in his life.
Right.
And I said, I don't have the budget to put in 50,000 BTUs of air conditioning, and he said, well, then I can't let you shoot here. And I said, that's fine. So I called my crew over and I said, hey guys, go get all the exterior shots that you can, because we're going to cheat Mar-a-Lago. We're doing a company move to LA. I said, I just need to establish where we are.
Yeah, they do the movies all the time.
Yeah,
Just shoot
absolutely.
the outside
Yep.
and then
Yeah, that's
sound
exactly
stage
what we
inside.
did.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's
so
funny.
we ended up shooting at the Ennis Brown House, which has been used in 1,000 movies. It's a Frank Lloyd Wright house in the Hollywood Hills, and we just established that we were Mar-a-Lago with all our exteriors,
Yeah, yeah.
and so that's my Donald Trump.
That is so funny.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But going back, you had said that you kind of just got roped in to writing books. Then you basically just got roped into it.
I did.
But now that has taken off into a large part of your career. I mean, I'm not going to just throw numbers out there, but over 40 books written, 20 bestsellers, 20 New York Times bestsellers.
20 New York Times.
Yeah,
bestsellers.
so I mean, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
all of that.
That's incredible.
I kind of want to talk a little bit about, because I'm very curious about this, about what your process is like when you get a new project to go to start it, whether it be someone that you're writing, because you've written your own books as well, correct?
Actually, no. I'm actually just starting my first book on my own.
I jumped
Yeah.
the gun.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it had already
Yeah.
came. You're
Yeah.
just starting your other one. So I'm curious as to what maybe the difference is between writing a book from yourself and to writing a book for another person. But when you're writing a book for another person, you're always writing in the first person anyways.
Yeah, I am. I write as the people that I work with. So I have been rock stars, politicians, broadcast journalists. I have been, the mind freak, a bounty hunter. I've been gay. I've been straight. I've been Mormon. I've been Jewish. I've been, you name it. I've been everything under the sun. But I write in first person. I write as a man. Anything. It's a fascinating way to see the world because I have to become the people that I work with. And, there's an art form to that. And it's a lot different than writing an article. So, you were talking earlier about
Right.
writing an article about a musician that you met. And it is a totally different style of writing. And it's a challenge, really, when you want to write something on your own, because then you have to find your own voice.
Right.
And what I do, I really have to have no voice on the page, no opinion. Everything is really, my thought is really irrelevant. I bring a lot to the interview process. I bring a lot. My job is to really push the people that I work with to go to that place that is far deeper than you can get in an interview. For my clients, they will write a book for one of three reasons, really, generally speaking. One, somebody told them they needed to because they need money.
Right.
Okay.
Their manager
Right.
or PR
Right.
or
Yeah.
whatever, like, hey.
Sure. It's a source of income. Two, it's a legacy piece. They've gotten to a place in their career where it's a look back. And sometimes, you can have a legacy at a certain time in your life where, let's say, you've gone through something like a disease or a breakup or, like a divorce, and you want to look back and help other people, right? So, or you've gotten to a place in your life where you're, at a stage in life where you really are looking back, like a Kirk Douglas, right?
Right.
So, or, it is a, really, it's what I will call a PR piece. So we're changing somebody's perception of who we are.
Yeah.
Right.
So those are the three reasons that somebody will write a book. And I'll give you a good example of a PR piece. Like I wrote a book with Elizabeth Smart and her family, and it was really important that she that she wrote that book when she did, because there were so many people who wanted to write some version of what happened to her.
Right.
I see.
And she really had to take control of that because there was going to be a trial.
Yeah. Oh.
And it was really, really important that nobody else had their say before that trial. And truly, who could say what happened to her better than
Her.
Liz?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was really important that she did that. So there and there are lots of other reasons. You know, there are let's say musicians who have fallen that want to reinvent themselves. You know, and this happens all the time in Hollywood. Things like that. But you know, the books that I really enjoy writing the most are the ones that I think add value into the world. That really help people, you know, live intentionally. You know, help them find their purpose and their meaning, because I think people, you know, define success easily, but I think people miss, you know, in living, I think people miss what it's really all about, and that's the purpose.
No, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
When you attack a new project, is there a lot of pre-production going into it? Do you have to like spend time with the subject just to kind of find that voice, or does that kind of flesh out as you're writing it?
Yeah, no, that's really where all the heavy lifting is done. I spend a tremendous amount of time with the people that I work with. I get to, you know, I think people often think like, do you live with them? Do you move in with them? Do you get to see? And sometimes I do. I mean, I've been on tour with people. I've been on movie sets. I've been.
What's that like being on a rock star tour?
You know, it's interesting. Not, you know, there's a lot of downtime, which is the time that I get to work.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, life on the road is hard.
Yeah.
Life on the road is hard, and it's not. There's not a lot of glamour that goes into it. I think that it's really a misunderstood experience.
I think I hit my lowest low when I was on tour.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was you have such absence of human contact, like actual human connection, that I just felt so drained. Like I had nothing left.
It's truly like, I mean, it's you wake up truly you do feel disconnected, and I think when you wake up and you really don't know where you are or what, you know, there is a sense of disconnection, and especially now we live in such a digital world where our connection is disconnected anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I don't get too philosophical on that, but I feel like for me, I see my job is to connect dots that are not necessarily being connected anyway.
Yeah.
And so the sadness is prevalent and obvious, and so my job is sometimes part therapist, part best friend.
I imagine.
You know, and so I become the you know, where the dump happens.
Yeah.
And it's not always the stuff that ends up in the book, but that's okay.
Is that draining on you to just take on somebody's burden like that while you're on the road dealing with your own burden?
It is. My burden their burden becomes my burden.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're all energy, right?
Yeah.
So I take on their energy, and it is, and I take on their emotion, and then, you know, it's twice as powerful when I start to write it.
Yeah.
Because now I've taken on their emotion, and now I have to write it as me, as I.
And you're giving it a name.
Gosh.
Yeah. And so it really is incredible. But the first book I wrote was with Joan London, and then, you know, many years later, and I wrote 3 books with Joan, and many years later, I got a phone call from Joan. It was actually 3 years ago yesterday that I got a call from Joan telling me that she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And Joan, as I said to you when I did her exercise video, it was like I had met my long lost best friend, and we have been best friends really ever since. And when she called to tell me that she was diagnosed with breast cancer, she didn't really call to tell me as a best friend, like, hey, I have breast cancer. She called and said, hey, listen, I have breast cancer, and I want you to document it, you know, because I can't think of anybody else that I trust enough that could go through this with me but won't miss a beat.
Wow.
So that was a double load for me because my
Yeah.
best friend called and told me that she had breast cancer
Right.
and she wanted me to document it.
Wow.
That's
That was
heavy.
Really heavy.
But I mean, I imagine the aim for that is to help other people dealing with the same thing.
From the minute that she called, our deal was this: I'll do it for you, but your health has to come first, and then we have to make sure that we're putting all the right information out there.
Yep.
And
Because you don't want to scare anybody
no,
any more than they're already dealing with it.
no, it was what we wanted to do was inspire.
Yep.
And what we knew we had to do was inspire. And Joan was incredibly courageous. She not only did I document, the words, she documented photographs and videos, and she was absolutely incredible. She, not to tell her story over mine, but this is all public and out there. The day that she decided to shave her head, she didn't tell anybody. She walked into like a random barber shop. I mean, truly, and some guy named like Jesus or something like that. And her husband was up at he owns summer camps, and her kids were all scattered. And she just said, "Hey, got anybody here that has a razor?" And and she took her iPhone and went popped it down and like talk about and just like videotaped it and shaved her head, and that was that. And because she knew if she did it any other way, it would never happen.
Right.
So God bless that woman, and it was power. She took her power, and that's really what it's all about. But it's really, that's where your relationships with the people that you work with in these kinds of situations matter, and it's a relationship of truth and trust. If they don't trust me, they'll never tell me the truth. They'll never give me the words and the stories that are the reason my books sell, and the reason that people, they're page turners.
Yeah. Kind of to bookend this line of questioning. Sure. When you finish writing, the first draft or at least the draft that you're the happiest with, what is the process like from there to publication? Is that on you at that point, or is it something where then you have to give it back to your subject and they have to kind of give you the okay, like, or I didn't say that, or like?
Well, that's a great question. It is such a hard process to hand someone their manuscript.
Yeah.
So
'cause you're them giving them the them that you hope they like, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I do. And it is holding up a mirror
Gold
for
star,
sure.
Jeff.
Yes,
That was good.
it is. You're holding up a mirror. And sometimes it's a mirror that they don't recognize, and sometimes it's a mirror that they will push back on.
So hard.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I have I've worked with people who have been in the middle of a divorce in the middle of writing, and I've worked with people who were happily married when we started and were not at the end. And I've worked with people, there have been all sorts of circumstances that you just can't second guess, and you get caught up in the middle of it. So one of my favorite quotes is, "The truth is circumstantial. We must strive each day to live in our truth," right?
Yes.
So to answer your question, I write a first draft and I give it to my clients first because they have total editorial control, 100%. Whatever they want to say, they can say. Today, more than ever, from the time that I first started writing books, and I wrote my first book in 1994. Okay, totally different world than we live in today.
Right.
Today, anybody can Google anything, and
Yeah,
right.
Wikipedia. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, and Wiki is not necessarily true,
Yeah,
right?
right,
So we can, but we can Google anything. There are photos of anything. So today I always start out by saying, you have to live with it. Just
Right.
know that this is. But back then, my clients had the capability of really kind of saying whatever they wanted to say. Today, you better come close to telling the story the way that it really happened, because somebody out there,
They're going to fact check you.
they fact check you.
Yeah.
So we really work hard to get the story as close as we can to the way that it happened, or we put some kind of disclaimer at the top that says, hey, this is my recollection of what happened. This is my version of the truth, and you know what? That's the way I remember it. And we all live that way. We all live our truth. Mm-hmm. And we are entitled to tell our story the way that we remember it. You do, I do, you do. That's just the way it is. And that's that old, that if the three of us witnessed an accident, all three of us are going to see something slightly different.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Witness testimony is nothing There's like everybody's gonna remember something different.
Completely.
It's really amazing. It's like
or what we just see.
Yeah, it's like the worst piece of proof is witness testimony.
Yeah, and and how we experience something. We all have relationships, right? Mm-hmm. So how we experience our emotions and how we experience what we went through. It's it's different.
Yeah.
And so it's how we tell it. Look, being a storyteller, which is essentially what I am, is about capturing emotion, connecting on that level, and making sure that you are being as close to the truth as you can get from if you're writing nonfiction. And from that standpoint, my clients will give me back their notes. I've really had I only had one client who, and this was kind of funny. I work off transcripts.
Okay.
And I only had one client that wanted me to send her the transcripts. And she actually would edit the transcripts. Like, I never said this. I'm like, well, these are your transcripts. Like, this is what you said.
Wow.
And so I would wake up in the morning. This is when we had thermal paper, like fax,
yeah.
And I would wake up, there would be like piles of, changes to the transcript. Wow. And, that's when somebody is just like
burying something.
Yeah, there's a lot, and there's nothing you can do about that. So you just roll with whatever it is that they want.
Yeah.
What they want to do.
Are you just like, yes, whatever you want, or do you maybe kind of sway them to make maybe the wiser choice sometimes?
I think it depends on the relationship. Look, I've been super lucky to work with truly, and I've been so lucky. The people that I've worked with have been awesome.
Yeah.
And they trust me. They know that I know what I'm doing. They allow me to give them the advice, but we're all as good as the advice that we'll take. Right?
Totally.
Wow.
And so for the most part, at the end of the day, I don't really have to live with the fallout. They do.
Right.
So it's their decision.
That makes sense.
And it's their kids and grandkids that have to know these stories, not mine.
Right.
And my general rule of thumb is if it doesn't move the story forward, it shouldn't be on the page. Mm-hmm. So I remember when I was working with John Bon Jovi and the rest of the band, they all had different reasons for wanting to write the book, which is ultimately why the book never ended up getting written.
Oh.
Because Tico had a different reason, and then Richie had a different reason than John. When everybody's coming at it for a different purpose, it doesn't work.
Right. It has no focus line.
Yeah, but that does. If it doesn't move, sorry, that's my phone.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. It doesn't move anything forward, and and they're pretty linear, and Richie just disappeared.
Yeah.
So, but it's, I think I've gotten to a point now where I can, really guide somebody, and I don't write anything salacious.
Yep.
I've never written anything about somebody.
Right.
So I have guidelines. So that's it. And look, I'll go to the mat with a publisher.
Okay. Yeah.
I will go to the mat with a publisher.
Good.
For sure. Oh yeah, we had a
sounds like fun.
Yo, today more than ever. Because publishing is really a whole different beast. But I had a book out called the 21 day the Stark Naked 21 Day Metabolic Reset. Uh-huh. Great book, probably the best book, health and fitness book that I've written, because it's not a diet book, and it really is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay, and they wanted to put the word diet on the cover of the book.
No.
Because diet sells.
Right,
Yeah.
because diet sells, right? And we fought them tooth and nail over it.
Good.
And we went to the mat and we won. Because they did not understand. We also wanted the words high achiever on the cover. And because it was a program for high achievers. And they kept saying, well, what if I'm not a high achiever? We kept saying, it's not the program for you.
Right.
Don't buy my book.
Yeah.
Right.
Because this is not for you. You will fail.
Yeah.
If you are an overweight, person who thinks that this program is going to work for you, and I mean like really overweight, sedentary, this is not the program for you.
Yeah.
And we say that in the book.
Yeah.
So even if you've bought the book and you get to like page 3 where we say that, when you get to the place that this is right for you, then this is the book for you. But this isn't the book for you.
Yeah.
So they,
of course, they just want numbers. They just want.
Well, they go for the masses.
Yeah.
Right. And
the person who's going to pick up the diet book is probably the person out of shape.
Right. Who's never going to use it.
Yeah.
So, so we really, and this is a guy who, he's the number 1 CrossFit trainer in the world. He trains elite forces. He special teams with like the LAPD. He, Navy SEALs. He's got a professional golfer that he trains. He's like, this guy knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to slap diet and, masses on this.
Yeah.
Wow.
And anyway, so we'll go to the mat and fight the good fight when it's worth it. And if a client wants to tell me that something was red or rouge or rose, you pick your color. I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah,
At this point now, you've worked with just a myriad of different people in different walks of life. Like you've named some of them, but musicians and fitness people and authors and all sorts of like different walks of life. I'm sure every person that you've had to embody has changed your own life a little bit. Do you ever think back on some of like the experiences you've had, and do any of them stand out a little bit farther than others?
Absolutely. What a great question. Thank you. Really everybody that I've worked with, I get to cherry pick. Think of it this way. I get to live their life lessons. Right.
Right.
And so there's a lot of stuff that I've been through without actually going through it, which
It's probably the best way to go through some things.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
I've been through addiction probably, 8, 9, 10 times without ever having really been an addict. I have been through rehab. I don't know how many times. I've never been through rehab. I have, been through.
Been a guy, a bunch.
Yeah, a lot.
Probably 100 divorces.
I've shagged a lot of supermodels. I did a book with the most famous male supermodel in the world.
I saw that.
And that
What was his name?
Bruce Halls.
Yeah.
He was such a nice guy. He actually offered to be my baby daddy.
Whoa.
But his wife wasn't so into it. And that's what I mean by relationship. Like there's such I've worked with amazing people who have been just so important in my life. But I will tell you, I think the person, when I really think about all the people that I've worked with, I have developed incredible friendships. I think I could pick up the phone and call really anybody that I've worked with if I needed anything. But I think John Maxwell is probably the person that had the greatest impact on me, because I wrote, and I think vice versa from a client point of view, but I wrote a book with John called Intentional Living. And it was John's, what he considers to be his legacy book. Now, John's written 100 plus books, but this was his legacy book, and probably the most personal book that he's ever written. And this was hard for John. John had gotten sort of in John, and I want to say this very openly, John has had the same writer for 20 plus years. And so the fact that I even was brought in from the outside was huge. And I didn't want to step on Charlie's feet at all, his writer, and it was very sensitive. Any athlete, every now and then you've got to bring somebody in from the outside that just, can see something. Like when we were out, in the warehouse, and you guys said you don't smell the coffee anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's really, what bringing me in was for John. And Charlie and John are in such a groove that sometimes you just have to bring somebody in. And but what I got from John was I got really intentional with my writing after working with him. And what became really important to me as a writer, and in my own life. And I realized that, look, I said yes to just about everything that came along, which hadn't hurt me in any way. But what I became super intentional about was that the books that I wanted to write going forward had to meet a certain criteria. And one of the criteria I had said earlier, they really had to serve a purpose and they really had to add value. And that has really worked for me going forward. And with John, the one thing I think, and John has spoken very publicly about this, the one thing that he got out of our experience was finding his personal voice. And which is something he had never done. In all of those books, John had hidden his personal voice.
Wow. Yeah, interesting.
So that was really a gift, I think, that we gave to each other.
Yeah.
And I really am so honored to have spent the kind of time with him that I did. And I'll tell you, somebody else is Tom Ferry, who I really love and adore. And I find myself quoting him a lot.
Yeah, he's so smart.
He is.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he is spectacular. And his, having written his book, and he used it as a platform to really build his business. I mean, he had just really had just started. He had left his father's company and had branched off on his own, and now Tom is just skyrocketing, and he and Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's just doing so much in that world, and I'm so proud of what Tom is doing, and he's an extraordinary coach in the real estate world, and the 4 addictions are just the greatest thing. That's how Tom got me to write his book.
Was telling you that.
Yeah, the 4 addictions.
Wait, what are the 4 addictions?
So Tom kept coming to me and saying, "Will you write my book?" And I kept saying, "I don't want to write a real estate book.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think so." And he's like, "Have I ever told you about the 4 addictions?" And I said, "No." And so, what do you think the 4 addictions that just about everybody has at least one of are?
Money, sex, inebriants, either drugs or alcohol, and I would say pride,
You're not saying wrong things, but you're wrong.
Okay.
Those are byproducts.
Yes.
I would love to be corrected.
Do you know what they are?
I don't know them all off the top of my head, but I know the addiction to your past, the addiction to... Now you're putting me on the spot. Help me out. Drama. That's right. The addiction to... Yeah, see, I'm on the spot now. It's all over. It's all downhill.
I love it when we stump Jeff. That's
No,
always tough.
This is good. I feel like we need the game show music in the background. Right?
But what are the
Welcome
other
our
two?
next contestant.
So we have
do.
Well, help me out. We have the past, and we have addiction to drama. What are the other 2?
The opinions of others.
The opinions of others.
And now you're going to stump me on the 4th one. Wait, because now I'm doing them out of order. Okay, the addiction to the past, the addiction to drama, the addiction to the opinions of others, and the addiction to worry.
Worry. That's right.
And when you really think about this, all of the ones that you said are byproducts.
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
That. And everybody. And so I will say, when Tom gave me those 4 addictions, I just thought they were brilliant, and I thought we could build something around that.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna be tapped out for the rest of this conversation thinking about this now.
See? You're addicted to it. Which one of those addictions
Worry.
do you? Yeah.
It's worry.
You see, but I love when people give me stuff that's so genius like that.
Yeah.
And I just think that I love that.
Yeah.
So it's so that I think that it's working with people at that caliber that every day I get to take that kind of information with me.
Right.
And every day that I get to then pass that kind of information along. Mm-hmm. Even sitting here with you guys today, you've had a few ahas that I've caught, right?
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of those.
Yeah, but I nothing makes me feel fuller than knowing if I could pass that along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And and I have a daughter that gets every chance that I get to pass that on to her.
Yeah.
And she takes it with her. I got to tell you a great story. My daughter came home from school the other day, and she was telling me about this little girl that was, they were struggling a little bit. And I said, honey, you can't let anybody, steal your joy. You can't let anybody steal your joy.
Mm-hmm.
Who's in charge of your joy? You are.
You are.
And so the other day, I was punishing her or something. And she was crying in the car. She goes, "Mama, you can't steal my joy." And I said, "Oh, they do listen."
Only when they can use it against you.
Always, right? So
Conversely, like we've talked now about, how you can write a book with someone who kind of opened your eyes. But like you talked about earlier, another way that somebody might contact you to write their book is because they want people's eyes to be open about them, because they want to put out a different narrative than what's out there. And one of those books, we actually were talking a little bit before we started recording. You got to work with Justin Bieber.
yes,
And that is something where you wrote a book about someone who is constantly in the media eye as a specific thing, as a pop star, bad boy image kind of thing. And you were able to sit down with someone like that and tell a different story.
Yeah, here's the thing, and the media loves to take down the hero.
Always.
And it is, here's a kid that works really hard. Now, when I say kid, I don't mean that today. I think, when he was 12, 13, 14 years old,
Right.
he was husling. He's got hustle. Right.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And
It's crazy.
and-
He got discovered. Yeah.
and he really he had it and he has it. And because I would not refer to him as a kid today.
No.
And if I did, he would punch me in the face. But he truly, and he does the work, and that's the thing that I think people really overlook. I mean, he is a hard worker. He's in the studio. He's working hard. He's out there on the road, which we were talking about earlier.
It's not
It's a
easy.
grind, and
Yeah.
you think a show like his just happens. I mean, so much work that goes into that staging and that. He's a songwriter, he's a musician, and he plays all those instruments. He's not up there, just
He's an
air
incredible
guitar
drummer.
and drumming and
So good.
Right. So so here, my feeling on Justin is this: the media loves to take down a hero, but the worst thing that I think that the media does is they taunt. They taunt the hero. And they
want a reaction so they can
do.
yeah.
They do. And in the book that I wrote with him, I wrote a piece on paparazzi bullying, because I thought that he had the voice to be able to speak to this. And this piece got picked up by a lot of sources. And that what the paparazzi does is a form of bullying. And, he never went to school, a traditional school. He graduated high school, but he didn't go to a traditional school. So bullying is a big issue.
Totally.
It's a big issue that
I was bullied a lot as a child.
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of kids are bullied, and a lot of kids, they don't know how to handle it, and they don't handle it well, if they're handling it at all, and there is no, sadly, I don't think that it's going away, and again, we have leadership that is not setting good example, at least so. But I think in Justin's case, they poke and they poke and they poke until they get the reaction, and then they get the photo, and then they sell the photo for a ton of money.
Such like a typical bully
Mentality.
technique.
It is exactly what it is, and they will call his mother names. They'll call his sister. He's got a baby sister. They'll call the Selena when he was with her.
Yeah.
And they were going after the people that he loves, and so look. I worked with Jerry Springer, and I went to the show, and people would always say, "Are the fights fake?" Or and they always challenged anyone, anytime, come to any show, right, and you tell us if the fights are fake. The fights weren't fake. They might have been provoked,
Right.
Yeah.
but the fights weren't fake, and the reason why I say this is because what happens with the paparazzi is it's all provoked in those kinds of situations, but the reaction shot that they're getting and what they're creating feeds into this fake news, and this era that we're now living in, that we don't know what's real, what's not real. Here's this shot of Justin going after the paparazzi, but what got him there?
Right.
And it's not right. We don't know, the backstory, and we don't know, that he spent 10 minutes saying, "Guys, back off, back off, back off."
Yeah.
or he's trying to drive away,
Right.
and they block his car.
I mean, it's all about the narrative that the media wants to portray, and and that just creates this bully society where they believe that it's all right to actually have this behavior, and it's and we eat it up as a a media
Gets the
frenzy
most
kind of thing.
clicks.
Yeah,
It does. I mean, those videos. I guarantee you, when he was in Manchester this week, that he went and visited. You saw the pictures of Ariana, and they're both managed by Scooter.
right.
I guarantee you that he was in the hospital, but he would never post the pictures.
Right.
He is the guy that that goes to do the Make-A-Wish.
Right.
Kids.
Right,
And
right.
but he does not post the pictures, and he's really a special guy.
Do you think a part of that is so he can keep those people out of the limelight
Yeah.
and kind of protect them?
I do. I think it's just so he can do. Exactly. I think you're exactly right. And I think that he's got a really good heart. And I loved working with him. I loved working with Scooter's team. I think Scooter Braun is a really stand-up, righteous guy. I love the way he handled this whole event on Sunday, the whole Manchester One Love concert. I thought he really rose to the occasion. I thought everybody that he brought to the show was incredible. I just really loved the message that they and his team put out there, and I admired it a lot. And I think Scooter, I've known Scooter a long time, and I think that he really, set the right tone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
One thing we always do on the show, and I think it's really poignant with someone like you. You've now, you've taken on the lives of so many people and created so many interesting works. That you've been privy to, being able to write your books. What fuels you to actually continue to do it, to keep finding that next voice and to take on that next persona and to write that next novel? What fuels you to keep going?
Thank you for asking that question. I now more than ever, it is about affecting change, which is my book coming out called Blindsided.
Right here.
Yeah,
Excited about that.
Yeah, this book comes out on June 13th. And this has been a real labor of love. I got a call from this attorney out of Miami, Jim Ferraro, who took on the chemical company DuPont on behalf of a boy who was born with no eyes. Mm-hmm. And his mother was just innocently walking past a U-picket field. Mm-hmm. And so like where strawberries and tomatoes, you can go pick your own strawberries and tomatoes. And she didn't realize, she was just stopped to watch this tractor was jerking back and forth. It had gotten stuck in the mud, and she didn't realize that she thought they were watering the field, and it turned out it was a chemical, and it was odorless and tasteless, and so she didn't connect that it was a chemical that would be harmful to her, and she was 9 weeks pregnant. And so she didn't know until her son was born that was a problem. And in fact, she didn't even know that until 2 years later. She got a call from a reporter out of London who had asked her if there was any possibility, because the condition is so rare.
Yeah.
But it's prevalent among workers in agricultural areas and fields. And now the thing is that DuPont knew that this was a good possibility when they put this product out. It was their number one rated agricultural product. It was their highest grossing agricultural product. So they took the science that they knew was blinding the mice when they did the studies that they had to conduct to get the product to market. They took the studies and they altered them a little bit so they could get it to market. And, they got the product to market to make the money. And Jim decided that he would take on DuPont when 12 other very large law firms said there's no way to take on DuPont. They'll bury you.
Yeah, they're so huge.
Yeah.
That's so sad. Can you imagine how many times that's happening?
It's happening right now. It's happening, right now the big case that's happening is Roundup.
Yep.
And
The weed killer there.
Right.
Yeah, and so this is happening every day. I mean, we're all walking guinea pigs, and this, Glenn Beck just did a commercial for us for this. The people are starting to get behind the. Christian Slater did the audio for the book
cool.
the audiobook for us. We have.
Is that released too, or
that's coming out when the book comes out.
I'm a big fan of audiobooks.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you watch Mr. Robot?
No, but I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, so that's his show.
That's his
It's
show,
super
yeah.
hot
Okay.
right now.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we've just gotten a lot of support because this issue affects everybody. This is a nonpartisan issue. Now with the dismantling of the EPA, this kind of stuff is going to get worse.
Yeah.
And so what Jim got behind this, not because the case. Look, this case happened 20 years ago. And so it wasn't because, the case, and it wasn't even a big money case.
Yeah.
And it was because this stuff is still happening.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
And the chemical companies, the pharmaceutical companies, and the tobacco companies, they take their science. This is what's really interesting about this case is it's the landmark case that established what junk science is and what can and can't be used in the courtroom. Oh. And so that science that they use, that they got their product to the market, when they want to be held accountable to that, they literally go into the courtroom. They're like, "Oh, that science? Oh, well, that was junk.
That's junk.
That's
right.
junk. You can't use that against us." And Jim established through this case, through this lawsuit, yeah, you can be held accountable.
Wow.
And it took 10 years. It went to the Florida Supreme Court. They won. And, the family was able to provide for their son, a good life, not the life that one would think, but a good life. And he was able to go to school and learn to, live independently. And he's now 30 years old and,
Wow.
Yeah. But it's a great story and it's an important story.
Why
and
did you go with the title Blindsided?
Because the family did not know until he was born totally perfect. Even everything, his brain function, everything was totally perfect, except he was born with no eyes, not blind. There were no eyes.
God.
Yeah. So let me tell you that had she walked past that field in her 10th week of pregnancy, it wouldn't have happened. Because the ocular development happens in the 9th week.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
So they were blindsided. They had no idea that this was going to happen.
And that's what's happening to everybody.
Everybody. We're all being blindsided by these exposures that we don't even realize are happening. There was a story, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I'll tell you one story, and we'll let this go. But there was a family that went to St. John last year on a family vacation. And they checked into a really nice condo that they had rented, and the condo had been sprayed. I won't name the name of the chemical company that sprayed, but it's a well-known company, and they accidentally used a chemical that was only intended to be used outside, and they used it inside. And the family, all 4 members, quadriplegic.
Oh my God. Oh, that's.
Yeah, I mean, these are things that
That's
should not
heavy.
be happening.
Yeah, that's
These are
heavy.
things that should not be happening.
Yeah.
And these chemicals should not be,
And there's no
yeah.
regulations in place
Wow.
where they have to even talk about
Right.
what could happen.
Yeah, and the company settled in about a hot minute with this family. DuPont, did not want to settle. They took it as far as they could take it. By the way, the product was called Bentley. It was taken off the market. It was $1 billion plus product for and it
God.
was taken off the market. So Jim was very successful, and we're really excited. This is why I do what I do
Yeah.
now, because I want to affect change. I really want to see I want to see people's lives get better, not worse. And then every now and then we do something like You Bet Your Life. This is kind of
And
fun.
this is another book that's coming out or it just came out or it's about to come out.
No, this just came out.
This
and this
just
is
came out,
this is kind of fun because that we all live here. This is about horse racing. This guy's legendary. This is so cool about this book.
Yeah.
This guy should be dead like maybe 10 different times.
Yeah.
The original
I know a little bit about him. Yeah.
Yeah. The original title of this book was Many Ways to Die, and we just didn't think that was going to work on the shelf.
Yeah.
But what this guy created, offshore betting.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
and this deals a lot with the subterranean economy, and it deals a lot with his life in dealing with South America and all the characters in Medellin, and
Wow.
yeah. And this was before 9/11 when he could bring back bags of cash,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and they had to like take the bills that were like, these have cocaine on it and these don't, and and he we would go through customs and they would just leave like the $100 bills that had the drugs on it in customs, and this guy is such a character. We just optioned this to oh my God, Jim. Oh my! His name just flew out of my head. Jim, come on, he did My Left Foot. Jim.
Here, wait, have some brain
Come
juice.
on. Yeah, I know. Thank you. I'll tell you his name in a second. But this is being made into a movie. This is an awesome
Excellent.
movie. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to read the book first. But.
Jim. Oh my God, his name is right
I can't
there.
think
I
of
need
it
brain
either.
juice.
Yeah.
I'll tell you in a second. It's right there. Anyway, this story is unbelievable. He was he's the winningest Canadian jockey in history.
Yep.
Secretariat ran its last race in Canada because of him. There's a great story about Secretariat's kidnapping attempt.
Yep.
Oh my God.
There's such great stories in this book.
We know a little bit about that being in the area that we're in.
Exactly.
But
He ran NYRA.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And this is just a great book. It's
so
a page
excited.
turner. Yeah.
And I mean, these are two awesome stories that need to be told and are coming out, and it's all thanks to you. You said it, so we got to talk about it real quick. Another thing, you're not just an author. You're out there, getting out there, putting where you think cool stuff is happening, and you are part of this brain juice that's
I
happening.
have a lot of interest in this stuff too, because I take a nootropic every morning.
We do talk about this we have talked about the different things that Dustin likes to use in that respect on this podcast.
But the nootropics that I take are always like we were talking about earlier, a pill or a powder, and this comes in a delicious little almost like a 5-hour energy shot. But can you talk about brain juice a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a drink that was created by a really smart guy in Austin, Texas, by the name of Sam Elick. And Sam, I think, is just a super genius. Sam was studying to get his MBA, and he wanted to come up with a drink. He just didn't want to take. Sam's super health conscious.
So he doesn't want to take Adderall or...
Well, listen, they call this liquid Adderall, liquid organic Adderall.
Awesome.
Because essentially that's, it has a very similar effect without, there's no addictive quality. It's organic. It's all natural. It doesn't have to be refrigerated, 2-year shelf life.
It is good cold, though.
Yeah, it's delicious cold. And
I'm sure it's fine room temperature,
yeah,
but...
Yeah, it's delicious. It's got blueberry and acai and all the good stuff in it. It's got, there are no preservatives in it, so it's really great. So you guys know about drinks, it has to be bottled in, the heat.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but it's not an energy drink, so it's the anti-energy drink, really.
Right.
And but it's good it's a memory boost. It's good for focus. It's good for I can't remember. No, I'm kidding.
I'm curious because when I started taking nootropics, I started having crazy dreams, like very, very vivid dreams. Have you heard about anybody dealing with that?
Well, here's the thing. I think that it depends on you, right?
Yeah.
So I think that it depends on how you respond to it. And you can take as many of these as you want. There's absolutely no limit to this. I think.
And you have a caffeine-free one.
Yeah, we do have caffeine-free, and the caffeinated one. Not to in any way disparage highly caffeinated coffee, but the caffeinated one has about half of the caffeine of a typical caffeinated Starbucks is the way that we describe it. So way less than what you guys have.
Right.
60 milligrams, maybe?
Way less than you guys. I'm here. I have the it's right here. The supplement facts on here would be it's on here. But it's not very high. So it's just got that perfect little boost, right? But there is no crash, and that was the idea. We didn't want people feeling jittery. We didn't want people feeling like they had to have another one.
Anxiety?
Yeah,
or,
nothing. Yeah, people just want to get stuff done.
Actually, I found nootropics help me deal with anxiety.
That's it. that was the idea, and that's the whole idea.
Because you're getting all this input constantly, and it's hard to information gate.
Yeah.
And I feel like nootropics help a lot with that.
Right, and that's the whole notion behind acetylcholine, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just to fire off, all of the right elements in the brain to help you just plow through your day. I mean, you can take this in the morning, like we were talking about this earlier. You take this in the morning before a workout, or anytime, whenever you work out. But
Yeah.
I work out in the morning.
Yep.
You take this with your coffee. And we were talking about also ketones.
Yeah.
Okay, you put keto cream in your coffee and take a brain juice. Workout, you've never had a better workout.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Never
I
had a-
loved nootropics for jujitsu because it was like I was able to think more clear in chaotic situations.
Yeah.
And I feel like it helped a lot with that.
See, I find that I am really focused. When I take brain juice, I'm very focused. I find that I can get just a ton of stuff done. I just feel even and just like I can just stay on my path.
Yep.
I write.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
just stay. I like it, and it tastes good.
It really does
really
taste
Doesn't
good.
it taste good?
I really like the taste.
We were at South by. We gave away about 35,000 bottles of this at South by.
Nice.
And we had a tremendous
Response.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
Yep, we had a tremendous response. It's an Austin company.
Especially like with South by Southwest, a lot of people are traveling to go there and dealing with like jet lag or even travel in general. You kind
Right.
of feel like
Oh,
crap.
totally.
First thing I do when I get off a plane is take a nootropic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it helps just kind of connect my astral body that I left behind with my physical body that was in Nashville 2 days ago.
Yeah,
or
our goal is
yesterday, I
to
don't
like get
remember.
Delta to start carrying these or whatever.
Awesome.
airline.
That's smart.
Yeah,
That's very smart. I think people
Yeah.
would notice a big difference instantly, especially like I said with traveling. It's just
It's like
so great.
Virgin or Delta, like
Yeah.
somebody really, cutting edge or cool. What do you guys like the packaging? You like
I love. I was
yeah.
just gonna say I love the
brain leaf.
the brain leaf on it, but the message too. Be mindful, be present.
Yep.
Brain juice.
I
I,
like
think
that.
that's just
Yeah.
that's excellent.
I think mindfulness is pretty much the secret to everything, right?
Yeah, listen,
do.
my daughter goes to a school that teaches mindfulness, and I think the Mind Up program, and I think if every kid could grow up with that,
Yeah.
it would be a gift.
Yeah.
It would be
Totally.
a gift. I think we don't get enough of it in our daily lives. I think most people, we try to bring it in, and it's such an amazing gift to put out there in the world.
Totally.
It is.
Yeah.
Once again, we want to thank you for being on the show. If there is anything else that you'd like to plug, or at least let our listeners know where they can find you and follow you.
Sure, absolutely. Two things. One, I can be found at lauramortonmanagement.com. And if you're interested in getting involved at all, if you care about the air you breathe, the food you eat, the water you drink, projectblindsided.com.
Awesome.
I would love if you would check out our site. The book is available at your local bookstore. You can also buy it through the website projectblindsided.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Guys, thanks for having
This
me.
was an amazing interview. I'm very honored that you came here
Oh.
and sat down with us, and we got to hear some really cool stuff.
Anytime, you guys. I'm really privileged that you had me, so thank you. Thank you so much.
This has been Fueled by Deathcast, a Death Wish Coffee Company podcast production. Thanks for listening.